Canada's condo market is beginning to look more and more like China's condo market right now, with bankruptcies going on, systemic risk to the banking system, and sales absolutely collapsing. So it's just one thing after another, and obviously after years, this bubble is now falling apart. So Toronto area new home sales frozen, with condo deals falling 91% below the 10-year average. So this is just completely insane. And if we go to one of Shazzy's tweets, I just want to put this into your mind as we dive into what's going on here. You know, this is somebody who agreed originally to pay the purchase price of this condo in Scarborough, 1.786 million. They paid 90,000 deposit, and they're now seeking an assignment of 1.5 million. So they're set to lose over 15% here on this purchase. It's a 3-bed, 2.5 bath, 1,100 square foot condo. But what you have to think about is the developer behind these kind of deals. And there's nothing to say that this will even actually be assigned. And it's just completely insane what's happened. Obviously, the condo market has turned into a total casino over the past couple of years with the assignment sales. We've been through that many times. So the Toronto area new homes market was practically frozen with inaction as sales remained low in October, with the condo sector particularly hard hit. And we'll get onto why that impacts the banks soon, although I think it's obvious. Condo apartments, which include low, medium, high-rise buildings, as well as condo townhouses and lofts, accounted for 210 units sold in October, down a staggering 84% from October 2023 and 91% below the 10-year average, according to the Building Industry and Land Development Association. That is just crazy when you think about it. The GTA new home market remained practically frozen with inaction in October 2024, research manager at Altus Group said. But what is even more interesting is you're seeing more and more of these condo companies going bankrupt, these developers essentially of these buildings who borrowed insane amounts of money, because guess what? To finance a condo building, when you've got to buy land at completely inflated prices, you've got to pay millions of dollars to the city to get the permit, plus all the corruption fees that you have to pay them to actually get them through, coupled with the high cost of doing anything in Canada, means that guess what? You're paying a massive premium. So a BC developer is facing mounting financial headaches stretching across properties throughout the Metro Vancouver area. The BC Supreme Court has appointed a receiver to take control of a Surrey project from Burnaby-based Find Properties after a lender petitioned the court claiming they were owed more than $85 million. In a November 8th order, Judge David Mashura, a receiver, was appointed for Thyn's District Northwest project. Then it says where it's located, but the developer had planned to build 2 residential towers with 1,023 units near Surrey Central SkyTrain station. So it's really interesting when you put this into perspective and think about what's going on here, because obviously there are a lot of these projects that the bank funded as well. And guess what? They're not backed by the CMHC, and the bank took real risk on those loans, but they thought, hey, we cannot lose. Nothing can go wrong here. Little did they realize all the pre-sales sold because people were exchanging the pre-sales like options, essentially. They turned it into a casino, and obviously that works really well when interest rates are going down and actual affordability is increasing, and when interest rates were at rock bottom anyway. I mean, that can work, but when interest rates are really high historically and they might be coming down very slightly, it's not working at all. And that's why you're seeing these condo developers go bust at such a rapid rate. This came after the lender Kingset Mortgage Corp petitioned the court on October 11th saying Thyn Properties owed them $85 million, consisting of about $80 million of principal and about $5.6 million of interest. So very interesting what's going on here, and obviously that Condo is just one of many that Shazzy puts on his Twitter all the time. I'd highly recommend you check him out. All the links are in the description, by the way. So Canada average house prices here, you know, since February 2022, you're now going on like nearly 3 years and home prices are still down in Canada. What does that mean? That means anybody who bought here in 2023 during the bull trap, anybody who bought here, and this was the highest volume. All this here, this run up at the end was the highest volume. That was when the most people were getting into the mania. And guess what? All those people right now are underwater, and now they're facing higher unemployment, a worsening economy. So you can only guess where this ends up. You don't have to be very smart to work it out. So Bell is reporting more layoffs here. So several people are claiming on Reddit that Bell is laying more people off going into the holiday season. So when companies are laying people off going into the holiday season, that really shows how weak the economy is, because typically that's when they're actually hiring a lot of seasonal employees. So if they're not hiring the seasonal employees and they've got enough and they're laying off, I mean, what does that tell you about the economy? I mean, we're not talking about a small company here. We're talking about one of the Canadian oligarch companies, Bell. I mean, they've got literally the most things going for them of any company in Canada, because they're in bed with the political establishment and the power structures in Canada and can get away with murder, essentially. So another thing that is happening, and it's starting to happen en masse, is all these colleges are starting to lay people off. Now, we know that rents have started to decline. First time rents have actually declined on a nationwide basis since 2021. And I've showed on this channel before how the rents are just correlated essentially to the population growth, not the house prices like most people think. So Mohawk College in Hamilton starts layoffs, but this is just one of many. Ontario colleges face job cuts amid international student cap. It's not just the job cuts that they're going to see. You're going to see inflation impacted by this, because a lot of those low wage, low skilled jobs were filled by immigrants. You know the type of jobs that I'm talking about, the ones where we've seen lineups from international students, those type of jobs. As less and less students come, guess what? Those jobs can't recruit. They have to put up the wages, because essentially it's one of only few free markets. So guess what? Less labor coming in. That means you've got to put the wages up to attract more people to come and do that job. And then what does that mean for end prices? That usually means end prices are going up or corporate profits are going down, which is very unlikely because Canada operates an oligarchy in most things. So they don't have to adjust those corporate profits. They want to keep their bonuses for the executive team. So what they do instead is they just pass on the price increases to the consumer, because there's no competition that they really have to deal with, and they're all in bed with each other anyway. I mean, just look at the grocery store chains and the Competition Bureau bread price fixing fiasco that happened literally this year, I think that was. So private debt to GDP is insanely high right now. And what a lot of people don't realize about this is higher than public debt, higher than household debt. And a lot of this debt revolves around that housing market, particularly in these big developments, exactly like China. I mean, you can literally look at China and what's going on in China, and then look at Canada, and it's very, very similar, actually. Very, very similar things are actually going on in each country. And that's because both countries are a bubble. Both countries had a mania. So it's very interesting to see, obviously, Canada's economy way, way weaker than China's. But yeah, you can really see it. So private debt to GDP stands at around 270%. It peaked out at over 300%. If you compare that to household debt is above 100% larger than the economy, but it actually got up all the way to 112%. So that goes to show, like, basically you have private debt that was nearly 3 times household debt in Canada. So it shows you the scale of what we're really talking about today, and the risk it poses for the banking system is insane, as all this private debt that you see, that debt rests on the back of the banking system. If people can't repay it, what is going to happen? It's not going to be very good at all. So we'll continue to monitor and see what happens here as time goes on. If you've enjoyed this video, highly recommend you check out this video here. If you're looking for a VPN, click this link. It helps support the channel. channel. And you also get the best VPN out there, which is ExpressVPN. It's a win-win situation. I will see you in